Hi everyone, it's Adam here, and today I'm wearing my t-shirt. It says, monetary policy, it's data dependent. Now, this was a gift of Forex Live from San Francisco Fed President John Williams, who've been trying to make this point over and over again. And, you know, the Fed had done a pretty good job of convincing markets that was the case until this week. The Fed came out, took a more dovish turn, even though the data's been better, and it doesn't make any sense. To understand why the Fed did what it did this week, I think you have to go back to the G20 meeting at the end of February. It was in Shanghai. Yellen was there. All the finance ministers were there. Other central bankers as well. Immediately after that meeting, China cut its required reserve ratio. Followed that up with loosening housing lending and a bunch of other stimulus measures. The ECB came out in early March, cut rates more than markets were anticipating. And now the Fed takes a dovish turn. You know, what had really changed in that time except this meeting? My thing is that something happened at this meeting. They sat down and decided the Fed can't turn hawkish. It's creating too many capital flows and outflows out of China. And everyone agreed to sit down and say, okay, we're going to stimulate some more. Look at it from Germany's perspective, and Merkel hasn't protested, or the Bundesbank, about these ECB measures. They haven't protested too loudly, and they acquiesced to them as well. Merkel's got a refugee crisis on her hands. If she had an economic crisis to go along with it, well, that might be the end of Merkel, and perhaps the whole European project. The UK is talking about a Brexit. You know, Cameron wants to stay in. So let's everybody get out there and stimulate a little bit more. Keep this party going, even if it's going to end in tears in a few more years, and try to shore things up for now. To me, that's probably the best explanation for what the Fed did, because it just doesn't add up otherwise. You know, another theory I have is that some more dovish central bankers, or some more convincing dovish bankers, central bankers are at the Fed. The Fed's Kaplan had kind of hinted about this line of thinking. He said, well, maybe we should keep rates flat for longer, for an extended period, he even said. He told that to the FT a couple of weeks before the decision. Could he have been that convincing? I don't know. Yellen is the one who sets monetary policy, and this really did come out of the blue, and it absolutely kills the idea that monetary policy is data dependent. You know, so where do we go from here? Well, now we know that others have gotten the message, and perhaps there's still more to come. And we've seen more from China. We've seen a little bit more from the ECB, but what about the governments in Europe? Some of them have power, and that's certainly the source of some of the problems. You know, the Fed, the U.S. government certainly can't convince Congress to spend more, so I think that's probably a dead end. But you're going to see more from Canada in the budget in the week ahead. For me, this is about as good of a sign as you're going to get for risk assets. Now, it might only last a few months into June, July, as economic problems mount elsewhere. But for now, I think the trade is set, the momentum is clear, and we've got to ride these moves as far as they go. If you look at the charts, I mean, it's clear sailing for things like the Aussie, CAD, even stocks for 50, 60 points from here in the S&P 500. Oil is breaking out once again, and things like copper look great as well. So let's stick with these moves for now. The Fed has certainly signaled the all clear. Okay, that's it for today's video. If you like the video, do us a favor. Please like, comment, share. If you dislike, go ahead and dislike. We just want to keep the conversation going. And thanks so much for watching.